You're watching TVC Breakfast. Let's get into our last discussion of the day. Now, as the set date for the Anambra governorship election fast approaches, concerns over insecurity in the state is mounting. With just 29 days to the November 6th election, INEC and other stakeholders say plans for the ballot will continue, even as the federal government says it might declare an emergency rule in the state if the level of insecurity does not improve. Across the country, there is a wave of uncertainty over how the exercise will be conducted with recent developments. So TVC News On brings us more of the situation in this report. All right, I guess that report will be played eventually, and then we get to see what the backgrounds are. But we have our guests joining us on Zoom, Global Affairs analyst Collins Nweke right now from Belgium. Collins, good morning. It's good to have you join me this morning.
Always my pleasure, Mike. Thank you for having me.
Great. Now, staying in Belgium and listening to what happens back home, I wonder what you make of all of the stories that you hear of for and against, reactions here and there. Give me that overview first before we delve into the specifics of these things.
Well, it's very disheartening. I mean, every single terror group or violent group, to say the least, that emerges from Nigeria is just one too much. I mean, the menace of Boko Haram continue to ravage the country. We are aware of, the Fulani herdsman menace that has added to it. And then we're also talking about, IPOB and then, the Yoruba independent group under Sunday Igboho. Now, these are all things that Nigeria can do without. And out here in the diaspora, of course, it's causing a whole lot of, resentment, is causing a whole lot of disunity even amongst Nigerians here, because the same way you have it in Nigeria, where brothers can no longer talk to brothers because they do not come from the same ethnic group, the same thing is playing out here in the diaspora, and, nobody is served good by it.
Like that. Now, let me put you on hold a little bit, and then let's play this report from our correspondent who talked about the situation in Anambra State. Then we come back to delve into the specifics, so he gives us an idea of some of the issues there.
Anambra is one of the 7 states that hold governorship elections outside the general election. Exactly 1 month from now, 18 candidates will file out to be voted for to produce the next governor of the state. At least 5,720 polling units spread across the 21 local government areas with not less than 2.5 million registered voters will be captured in the exercise. INEC is very close to 100% readiness for the polls.
We wish to assure the people of Anambra State that the Commission is determined to proceed with the election as scheduled. To underscore this determination, the Commission is implementing 2 more activities on the timetable for the election in the next few days.
Whether or not this election will hold lie in the belly of time.
There will be no elections in Biafra land. No more elections here. They can put whoever they like in office. They can do whatever they like with their political positions. We will not engage in any political process.
After long threats by the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra not to allow any election within the territory of the southeast until a referendum is conducted, recent violent attacks have driven peace and safety far away from the area, particularly Anambra State. IPOB recently said it did not declare that election will not hold in Anambra State. It also denied responsibility of destructions and killings. Even with the likelihood that criminal elements may have infiltrated what IPOB agitations may have been known for, security agencies seem not hasty to engage. It all began with steady attacks and killings of security personnel, destruction of police facilities, attack on prisons and freeing of inmates by men subtly chaired by the same people who share in the IPOB dream. And just weeks to the governorship election, everyone now live in fear. If the election fails to hold as scheduled on the 6th of November, INEC has till early February next year, 30 days before the expiration of the tenure of the incumbent, to conduct the poll. In the very unlikely event that it still did not hold, the Constitution may not have envisaged such situation in an isolated state. As citizens helplessly wait for how events will pan out, Anambra may be at the verge of another political experiment in Nigeria. The off-season elections began in 2006, when on the 17th of March, barely 1 year to the next general election, the Supreme Court removed Chris Ngige as governor and pronounced Peter Obi as the legitimate winner of the previous election in 2003. From then, Anambra State opened the door to governorship elections at other times apart from during the general election. Now, 7 states elect their governors during the off-season polls. This is also the only state a sitting governor was abducted and held captive for hours by state and non-state forces. Yet, nothing happened thereafter. And now, the state is toying with the possibility of testing the Constitution once again. With the current situation in Anambra State, it is now certain that high voter apathy will be recorded if the election holds next month. And incidentally, there is no definition on what percentage of eligible voters that will cast their ballot before the results of the election is declared and the winner emerges. It is therefore very important right now for every effort to be directed towards finding a quick stop to the worsening insecurity, as an extreme situation in Anambra State may not just be isolated. It could be the beginning of the end in an already fragile polity. Uzonna Ononye, TVC News, Lagos.
All right. That's part of the perspectives to issues from Anambra State. Now, Collins, we still have Collins Nweke joining us all the way from Brussels in Belgium. Now, Collins, I believe you listened to that report. Now, let's start with the issue of the emergency rule. Anambra State government, or Anambra State, is preparing for election on the 6th of November, which is about a month from today. And from the press conference of the federal government, by the Attorney General of the Federation, he was talking about the likelihood of an emergency rule if the security or insecurity situation in Anambra State does not improve. There has been a lot of reactions from this already. What do you make of this?
I am not privy to the intelligence reports that occasioned the statements of the Attorney General. Now, it could very well be that he is justified in the plan that he's making, but I would want to, concentrate on previous actions of the past by this same government, masterminded by the same Attorney General, which, in my opinion, have been half-baked. Now, half-baked because there appear to be some sort of reactive approach to some of these issues, rather than, a holistic approach that actually looks at the situation critically and actually churn out, a policy that is all-encompassing. Take, for example, the declaration of IPOB as a terrorist organization, and the fact that our closest allies, especially security allies in the international community, decided that they are not going to, toe the same line as the government of Nigeria. That's a huge, policy and political failure on the part of the government. Now, I wish the Attorney General well, but I do hope that his plans of this emergency rule his announcement, as a matter of fact, of a possible emergency rule is aimed to be a deterrent, that they are not planning actually to see it through, and that if they see it through, that they are actually well prepared for it, because so far it does look like IPOB is having an upper hand. They are really winning this war, because if you look at the issue of voter apathy, now the election is going to hold one way or the other, but perhaps they have succeeded actually in scaring people off, in making sure that the turnout is very, very low. And, when the turnout is low, it is not representative of the will of the people. And what that means essentially is that they have achieved to a large extent their goal. So Nigerian government needs to get their acts together in handling this issue. Rather than a reactive approach, they should adopt a proactive approach to dealing with the issue.
All right, now the military has launched Operation Show of Force as well as Exercise Golden Dawn. I wonder how much of a game changer that will be, because this is not the first time the military or any other outfit for that matter is setting up the security strategy to try to quell security situation insecurity situation in parts of the country. But how much of a game changer will these operations be from your view?
It beggars belief, Mike, because it does look like anything and everything that the government has done so far has not worked. It has not worked because it is unspeakable to actually talk about a sit-at-home operation carried out in the southeastern part of Nigeria, masterminded by IPOB, in the presence of an existing active, military, personnel, military operations in Nigeria, and they are simply there, helpless and unable to do anything. I mean, it's unthinkable that is happening. And along that line, we also hear of the establishment of the Southeastern, security network, a paramilitary organization that is within the confines of a sovereign nation state. Yet, nothing has been done to actually quell it. So I do hope that, this new idea, which again falls within my description of, a reactive approach to the security issues around IPOB and the southeastern Nigeria, I do hope that it works. I'm not a military, or security expert, but, from what I can see so far, they have failed. There is lack of, thoughtfulness in the actions. And this time around, I hope it's going to be different. But the signs are not looking good.
All right. Now, what out of all of these uncertainties that everyone is seeing and reading about following the move by the federal government and the reaction from state governments, preparatory to the election, how will this impact on the voter apathy or the voter turnout on the day of election, from your view?
Well, Mike, it looks very obvious that a lot of people are scared. I mean, I'm from the southeastern part of Nigeria myself, even though I've been out here in the diaspora for a while. I maintain links with family, friends, and associates. And if I could limit my analysis to, personal contacts and, those around me, I can tell you categorically that a large number of people are actually planning on not turning out for the election out of fear of what might happen to them. The reign of terror that IPOB has unleashed in the southeast of Nigeria is resonating. It is being, held very, very close to the hearts of people, their supporters, and even those who are against IPOB. They are living in fear, and nobody, quite a few people are not willing to, confront that fear and go out and vote. So yes, it's going to impact on the turnout. The voter apathy is extremely high, and hopefully the government could do something to, provide security for people and reassure them that when they step out of their house, go and vote, they are going to be able to return back to their house after the elections. Let us hope government does that because in the absence of such, the voter apathy is already setting in.
All right. Now, the IPOB had at different times issued a sit-at-home order, which the people obey almost 100% in some of the places that report has come out. The state government and government agencies and security agencies will assure the people to go about their normal businesses. But we have seen situations where people are caught between the order by IPOB and then the advice by state agencies. And because some people have been killed, others have their businesses and property burned, others have been beaten and returned back home and all of that. Now, a situation where a non-state actor is wielding a lot of influence in the minds of people, whether out of fear or out of love, whatever the thing is, what implication does this have? Because there's a consistency in this sit-at-home order that is being obeyed against the advice of state actors. What implication going forward do you see?
The implication is that it does create a worry and a worrisome sign of continued insecurity in the southeast of Nigeria. Now, I would want to disagree slightly with your summation that, the citizens are obeying the sit-at-home order. Now, there are reasons to believe that the people have actually been cowed into sitting at home because they fear for their life. I do not consider that, some sort of loyalty towards IPOB. I do see that as responding to fear because IPOB appears to be, ruling by terror, by instilling fears in the eyes of the people. And that brings me to the heart of the question you asked as to how a non-state actor, in this case IPOB, could have an upper hand against the government of a nation state, Nigeria. Well, that simply tells you, in one word, that IPOB is winning this war and that the Nigerian government needs to get their acts together.
All right. At different times, we have also seen what plays out in the southeast of Nigeria also plays out in the south of Cameroon, where we have the Ambazonia, as they call. I wonder, when it comes to collaboration and so on, I wonder what you're seeing when information is flowing between southern Cameroon, the Ambazonians, because they are also, agitating for almost the same thing, and then in the southeast of Nigeria. That's collaborative effort. What do you see implications going forward if issues are not handled right on time?
Well, the collaboration between IPOB and the Ambazonians is rather a strong one. Now, you can actually draw a correlation between what is happening between the IPOB and the Ambazonian with the recent, sort of marriage between IPOB and, the agitation for a Yoruba nation state. Now, in the past, Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of IPOB, had been actually, caught on records, speaking very unholy, very unkind words against, or about the Yorubas. But right now, something has brought them together, which is the agitation for independent states of their different ethnic group. Now, the same thing goes around in the entire world. Now, they are finding solidarity with similar groups in different parts of the world. There is free flow of information, and there is also free flow of finances amongst and between them. So, take the Nigerians in diaspora who are of Igbo origin. Now, a good number of them, certainly not all of them, because as you have people within Nigeria that do not support IPOB. You also have, you know, them out in the diaspora, but they do command quite some, you know, significant support amongst the Igbos in diaspora. And so they too serve as a conduit in, you know, facilitating the realization of their objective. And these are all the matters that actually need to be looked at, you know, holistically and find a way forward rather than the current reactive approach.
All right. Before I let you go, what scenarios do you see playing forward from all the cacophony of reaction and controversies and uncertainties that we see trailing the preparation or build up to the election in Anambra State?
Well, one thing is clear, and that is the fact that whatever action that the government is taking now is perhaps a bit too little, a bit too late, because there are people who have, I mean, citizens of Anambra State, who have actually taken the irreversible decision not to go out and vote. So no matter what the government does at this stage, to reassure them, you know, bringing in security forces or even declaring, you know, state of emergency and all of that, there are people who have actually logged off. They are not coming out to vote. Now, they might succeed in convincing a good number of people that it is safe to vote if they take the right action. But I think the summary of it is that so far, IPOB has achieved to a very large extent its goal of destabilizing the political process in Anambra State. And the government is right now playing some catch-up.
All right. Collins Nweke, thank you so much for your insight into all of this. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Great.